All right.
All right. Hey. So yeah, first and foremost, I want to thank you for taking out time to stop by on my platform. I really appreciate you. Definitely look forward to hearing about some of the amazing work that you're doing. I'm currently in Nashville, Tennessee, so I'm on Central Time. For the viewers who may have not, already seen the film or recognize you, let them know what your name is and definitely where you're from.
Yeah. So I'm Hiram Garcia. I'm originally from California. I've been living in New Zealand for about 12 years now. And
Wow. Okay. Okay. And I gotta ask you about that. I mean, definitely shout out to California, but New Zealand. I always look. I'm a world traveler. I traveled all around the world. I've been to about 70 countries, but I haven't been to New Zealand. And every time I look up like the most peaceful, most beautiful, best places to live, New Zealand is always like in the top five.
yeah, it is. So it's a pretty big island, but there's only about 5 million, 5.5 million people. So it's like a suburb of Los Angeles on this big, beautiful island. So it's pretty cool. And to be honest, I did not know where New Zealand was. Um, I had I was going to be made, I was going to get laid off or made redundant, as they say here in California. And so my wife and I came home, told the missus, and she said, "Well, let's just try, put your resume out and let's just try going somewhere around the world, right? Let's see where fate kind of takes us." Um, so I had a company fly me out to Canada to interview, and they said I was overqualified. I was like, well, that's too bad. But they said, "We got a position in New Zealand. Are you interested?" I said, "Yeah." Came home. I think we're going to New Zealand. The first thing we did, where's New Zealand? Which I feel kind of bad because I have a college degree, but had no idea where New Zealand was. So we look at on the globe there, and it's like, oh, it's next to Australia. Oh, it's kind of close to Antarctica too. So for those that don't know New Zealand, there's the North Island, which is sunny and lots of beautiful beaches, and then the South Island, which is cold ski resorts but beautiful mountain resorts. So yeah, and landed here and no regrets.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing, man. That's really amazing. New Zealand is not like on a lot of people's radar. So if you ask the average person where New Zealand is, they're not going to know. But they missing out because, like I say, every time I either look it up or ask somebody that been there, they say it's amazing. Um, no, I can ask you this: if this is this true? I heard that in New Zealand, they paying people to move there or something to that effect?
There's a lot of incentives, and like for the film industry, so they pay a third of their costs if they film in New Zealand. So that's a government incentive to bring the film industry here, right? So that works really well for them. But there's, New Zealand, so they have social medicine, right? So you don't pay a doctor bill here, so and it just changes the whole culture here, right? So if you get in a car accident, it's like, don't worry about it, mate. Whereas in the US, it's like, what's your insurance? Ow, ow, whiplash, right? So it changes the whole dynamic with that in here.
Wow, because I know California got major road rage. So was it like a culture shock for you, or was it an easy, smooth transition? Because you've been there 12 years, so obviously you enjoying it. But when you first got in there,
It's definitely a culture shock on how laid back everyone is. The first culture shock was how people just walk barefoot, right? Like not all the population, but I'd say a good third of the population. It's just a cultural thing here. And you'll be in the store with people walking barefoot, right? And then from California, it's like no shoes, no shirt, no service, right? You got guys there in swim trunks barefoot, and no one cares, which is kind of cool, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Cause like I say, I'll be always looking up stuff like they say sometimes, like the way our feet is, like I guess we evolving because everybody wearing shoes, but it's messing up our feet. So, grounding and putting your feet in the sand and the dirt is healthy physically and mentally. So, they might be on to something.
Yeah.
Now, what, if it's okay to ask, what type of work are you doing over there?
So I'm a environmental consultant. So I help companies get out of jams when they have to, yeah, when they have like a discharge to water or to land. I kind of help them out, you know, test it. What did you discharge? And then what are we going to do about it?
Oh, okay. Wow. Now, how do you go from kind of doing that to getting into film? Is it like this always been your dream or your passion and you were doing both, or how does that?
No, just by coincidence. So my daughter, um, who now goes to university, she always had an interest in acting. And so she wanted to sign up for an acting agency. So my wife and I took her and she signed up and they asked us, did you want to sign up too? So my wife and I signed up as well. Otherwise, I would have never considered it, So if it wasn't for my daughter, I would not have been in the movie Minecraft.
Wow. Big shout out to your daughter, man, for
Yeah.
sure, because you did that. We're gonna talk about that, but I guess maybe you mentioned it earlier. You said something about filming in New Zealand. They can save money or it's an incentive. Is that where you did the class in with your daughter or?
Yeah. Yeah. So we moved to New Zealand and then we signed up. She signed up for an agency here. Um, I get some roles, but yeah, nothing as big as Minecraft. Yeah.
Right, right. Now, to get that role, did you have to go to Hollywood or you was able to kind of get it from New Zealand?
From New Zealand. So the audition was
Wow.
here. And, they don't tell you what you're auditioning for. It's just a teacher role. Here's the audition place, show up. And I did my audition. I just walked away like, yeah, whatever. Cause I've done a few auditions here, but kind of just never get the role. Right. So I just kind of walked away like, yeah, whatever, you know. Um, and then got a call probably about 2 days later. Hey, the director liked you and wants to have a chat with you. And of course, that was Jared Hess. And it wasn't until then he started having a chat where he told me it's in the movie Minecraft. I was like, oh, cool. But again, kind of, what is Minecraft? Because I don't play it, but my daughter does, right? So I come home and say, I got a part in Minecraft. She's like, oh, no way.
That's cool. Now, what year was this when you started?
Oh, so I probably been acting part time about 4 or 5 years. Um, and then the movie Minecraft was probably about 2 years ago was the audition. Yeah. But
Wow.
before Minecraft, I was like hairy guy number two in the background, odd guy number five.
It's cool. That's inspiring. Now, you said you did a lot of auditions. Like, have you kept count, or is just a couple?
Uh, I'd say maybe 10 to 20. And it's funny because I'm Mexican and there's not too many Mexicans in New Zealand. I've never got a Mexican part.
Oh, okay, okay. Now, what if now I forgot I could ask you this. Like you say, that might be a challenge, but you was able to use it and still, overcome that. Were there any other challenges in terms of just, auditioning, being a Mexican American in New Zealand, trying to, apply for different roles?
No, not here because New Zealand's a little more diverse and acceptance of different cultures. So to give you an example, my neighbor is Fijian. My other neighbor's from Kuwait. I have a neighbor next door is from the Philippines. Across the street, New Zealand, and then I have um, a Korean family. So those are my four or five closest neighbors. So it's quite diverse here, and
Cool.
there's a little more acceptance of the different cultures here.
Okay, okay. Now I can ask you this by getting hands on and going through the process of auditioning and acting. Have you thought about exploring maybe even writing or directing or producing or sound or anything behind the camera?
No, not really. It's not that probably. Yeah, it just takes time, right? That's the only thing. Yeah, yeah. When you have a when you have a full-time job, it's kind of tough to do those things. But my daughter, she's produced, so she's acted in plays, she's produced plays. Um, she'll probably want to direct and write a play. So my daughter is all in on that.
That'd be cool if she write and direct something and have you in it. You gotta have a
Yeah,
role in it. That would be amazing because people just, dream of being able to accomplish stuff like that, but to do something with your family, that seems like that would be so awesome.
yeah, yeah. It would be.
Yeah. Now, what about full-time acting? Have you thought about just going full-fledged actor mode, or are you still kind of?
Not. Let me put it this way: if someone said you want to be in a series or something, I'd be like, I'm all in, sure.
That's cool because I look today, I don't know, it's probably still going up, but it says Minecraft movie tops 825 million as the biggest blockbuster of 2025. So, what do you think
Yeah,
about that?
I just think, wow, I'm not even a full-time actor in this movie that's doing so well. It's surreal a little bit. Yeah. And then the other part thinks of me, gosh, I wish I got paid more. I wish there was a 0.0001% of the box office clause or something.
But I mean, I'm sure it definitely has set you up nice. All you got to do is keep going. You did it. You basically in $1 billion film. So just
Yeah,
keep going,
yeah.
keep
It's
doing what you
definitely
do.
yeah, it's definitely cool exposure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now let me see. I wanted to ask you a little bit more, I guess, about the audition. I think I checked out another interview you did online. It was some changes or some issues with the script. Maybe I guess once you got the part, it was different from what you auditioned for or something.
No, so yeah. So I think the original script was like 10 lines, right? And so, you're always a little nervous and you show up for the first day. It's like, all right, Hiram, you can do this. I got my 10 lines. Yeah, I'm gonna nail this. So I get there and one of the assistant directors goes, do you have, what script do you have? And I show him that. It's like, oh, we need to get you the new script. I was like, the new script? What are you talking about? And they said, well, Jared and Chris is the writer, they had dinner the night before and kind of went a little crazy with the lines and my scenes. So I went from one scene to three scenes, and here's the script. We're gonna shoot the first scene in about an hour. So that was quite intimidating and scary to be like, oh, I got this new script I need to do something about. So it's like trying to memorize it. Yeah, so it was cool. I got to sit. They sent me to a different trailer. Hey, just sit down, give it a go. Um, and then Jared came over and kind of worked some stuff with me, and yeah, it was intimidating, but once you did it, it was like cool. I just did that.
Yeah, I mean that seems awesome though. I mean anybody you go for a part and you come back and they give you more, you know what I'm saying? Seems like it would be a dream, you know. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, kind of a compliment. Like, oh, they must have saw something, or they wanted to mess with me. I don't know.
That's cool. That's cool. That's very, very cool. Now you said you auditioned what was it? It was like 2 years ago or something like that for this movie.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
how long does it take to if you can speak about it, how long does it take to do a film like that? And were you there for the every single scene or you just kind of was just there for just your part?
Just there for my part. I was on set for 3 days, and I think my scene was the very first scene shot, and that was back in January of 2024. Yeah. So it takes roughly, I'm going to say they probably finished in May or June of 2024, like all the filming, and then they start the editing. So it's quite a long process. I'm going to say 8 months or so after filming to actually get it edited to release.
Okay. Now I wanted to ask you about this. I was looking at your IMDb profile, and they said you were in Cura, a TV series. Now, is that like a New Zealand TV series, or is that
Yeah. Yeah. It's a New Zealand TV series. They only had a few episodes, and it was the director lived in this community called Papakura. So Kuda is just, the short abbreviated name for it. And he just has episodes about his life growing up there. Yeah. And on that one, I was just the a guy in a jacuzzi. I think the description was we need an odd looking fellow to sit in the jacuzzi. Tick.
that's a cool role. That's a cool role though to get. You know, it does no pressure. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because, all right, you go to dressing and they have all these bathing suits, right? All different styles. And so I'm looking at all of them, and one's like a Speedo, and I'm kind of giggling, right? And then the director's like, oh, he looks at me like, would you mind wearing that? I was like, sure, no problem. Because I'm always all in for a laugh, right? So, yeah. Or then they had me sit in the jacuzzi and just kind of sit there and then, and just kind of do weird stuff. So I was just sitting there, and then I started doing um like this, spitting water out with my hands, just messing around. And the director was like, "Oh, we got to have that. Do more of that." So that was the actual scene that made it in there. Me doing this.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and check it out because I was trying to find it, but I didn't know if I could get it from over here. Um, Let me see. Okay, now I can ask you this. I don't know if you can speak on it or not. Are you currently working on anything or are you taking a break or are you gonna get right back out there? You got something coming in the future next year or
Well, I'm always down to audition if the role's right. Yeah. So nothing as of yet, but hopefully something will come out. There are rumors that there might be a Minecraft 2, so we'll see how that goes. I'm sure after the box office, I'm sure they'll be like, yes, let's do it.
yeah, man, it's already at 1 billion, so it gotta be a number two. And so I seen what you did in that, man. They gotta bring you back somehow, some way, for sure. That'll be dope.
Yeah.
And well, I want to thank you again for stopping by. I appreciate your patience. I know we started a little late. We had some technological difficulties, but I really look forward to having this interview with you, especially coming from all the way over there in New Zealand. I appreciate the information you shared, and I definitely look forward to seeing you in more films, part two, and just keep up the great work.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, and I will let you know that the sun will come up tomorrow for you.
I
Just because here
appreciate
it's
it.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
no worries. The sun will come up tomorrow, guaranteed.
man. Right. And thank the viewers for tuning in. So until next time. All right.
All right. Take care. Have a good
Take care.
one.
You
See you,
too.
everyone.
Yeah.